Section 4 of the story of Gosta Berling. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Reading by Lars Rolander. The story of Gosta Berling by Selma LagerlAPf. Translated from the Swedish by Pauline Bancroft Flack. Part 1, Chapter 2. Christmas Eve. Sintram is the name of the wicked master of the works at Fors. With his clumsy ape body and his long arms, with his bald head and ugly grinning face, he whose delight is to make mischief. Sintram it is who takes only vagrants and bullies for workmen, and has only quarrelsome lying maids in his service. He who excites dogs to madness by sticking pins in their noses, and lives happiest among evil people and fierce beasts. It is Sintram whose greatest pleasure is to dress himself up in the foul fiend's likeness, with horns and tail and cloven hoof and hairy body, and suddenly appearing from dark corners from behind the stove or the wood pile to frighten timid children and superstitious women. It is Sintram who delights to change old friendship to new hate, and to poison the heart with lies. Sintram is his name, and one day he came to Ekeby. Drag the great wood sledge into the smithy, put it in the middle of the floor, and lay a cart bottom on the frame. There we have a table. Hurrah for the table! The table is ready. Come now with chairs, with everything which will serve for a seat. Come with three-legged stools and empty boxes. Come with ragged old armchairs without any backs, and push up the runnerless sleigh and the old coach. Ha 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 ha! Up with the old coach! It shall be the speaker's chair. Just look! One wheel gone, and the whole bottom out. Only the coach box is left. The cushion is thin and worn, its moss stuffing coming through, the leather is red with age. High as a house is the old wreck. Prop it up, or down it will come. Hurrah, hurrah! It is Christmas Eve at Ekeby. Behind the broad bed's silken curtains sleep the major and the major's wife, sleep and believe that the bachelor's wing sleeps. The men servants and maids can sleep, heavy with feasting and the bitter Christmas ale. But not their masters in the bachelor's wing. How can any one think that the bachelor's wing sleeps? Sleeps, sleeps, O child of man, sleeps, when the pensioners are awake. The long tongs stand upright on the floor, with tallow candles in their claws. From the mammoth kettle of shining copper flames the blue fire of the burning brandy, high up to the dark roof. Beerenkreuz's horn lantern hangs on the forge hammer. The yellow punch glows in the bowl like a bright sun. The pensioners are celebrating Christmas Eve in the smithy. There is mirth and bustle. Fancy if the major's wife should see them! What then? Probably she would sit down with them and empty a bumper. She is a doughty woman. She is not afraid of a thundering drinking song, or to take a hand at kille, a Swedish game of cards. The richest woman in Varmland, as bold as a man, proud as a queen. Songs she loves, and sounding fiddles and the hunting horn. She likes wine and games of cards, and tables surrounded by merry guests are her delight. She likes to see the larder emptied, to have dancing and merrymaking in chamber and hall, and the bachelor's wing full of pensioners. See them round about the bowl. 12 are they, 12 men, not butterflies nor dandies, but men whose fame will not soon die out in Varmland, brave men and strong. Not dried up parchment, nor close fisted money bags, poor men without a care, gentlemen the whole day long. No mothers' darlings, no sleepy masters on their own estates. Wayfaring men, cheerful men, knights of 100 adventures. Now for many years the bachelors' wing has stood empty. Ekeby is no longer the chosen refuge of homeless gentlemen. Pensioned officers and impoverished noblemen no longer drive about Varmland in shaky one-horse vehicles. But let the dead live. Let them rise up in their glad, careless, eternal youth. All these notorious men could play on one or several instruments. All were as full of wit and humour and conceits and songs as an anthill is full of ants. But each one had his particular great quality, his much esteemed merit, which distinguished him from the others. First of all who sit about the bowl, I will name Beerencreutz, the colonel with the great white moustaches, player of cards, singer of songs, and next to him his friend and brother in arms, the silent major, the great bear hunter, Anders Fuchs, and as the third in order, little Ruster, the drummer, who had been for many years the colonel's servant, but had won the rank of pensioner through his skill in brewing punch and his knowledge of thorough bass. Then may be mentioned the old ensign, Rutger von Örneclou, lady killer, dressed in stock and wig and ruffles, and painted like a woman. He was one of the most important pensioners. Also Christian Bergh, the mighty captain, who was a stalwart hero, but as easy to outwit as a giant in the fairy story. In these two men's company one often saw the little round Master Julius, witty, merry, and gifted, speaker, painter, songster, and story teller. He often had his joke with the goat crippled ensign and the dull giant. There was also the big German Kevenhuller, inventor of the automatic carriage and the flying machine, he whose name still echoes in the murmuring forests, a nobleman by birth, and in appearance with great curled moustaches, a pointed beard, aquiline nose, and narrow, squinting eyes in a net of intersecting wrinkles. There sat the great warrior cousin Christopher, who never went outside the walls of the bachelors' wing unless there was to be a bear hunt or some foolhardy adventure. And beside him Uncle Eberhard, the philosopher, who had not come to Ekeby for pleasure and play, but in order to be able, undisturbed by concern for daily bread, to complete his great work in the science of sciences. Last of all, and the best, the gentle Lowenborg, who sought the good in the world, and understood little of its ways, and Liljekrona, the great musician, who had a good home and was always longing to be there, but still remained at Ekeby, for his soul needed riches and variety to be able to bear life. These 11 men had all left youth behind them, and several were in old age, but in the midst of them was one who was not more than 30 years old, and still possessed the full, undiminished strength of his mind and body. It was Gosta Berling, the knight of knights, who alone in himself was a better speaker, singer, musician, hunter, drinking companion, and card player than all of the others together. He possessed all gifts. What a man the major's wife had made of him! Look at him now in the speaker's chair. The darkness sinks from the black roof in great festoons over him. His blond head shines through it like a young god's. Slender, beautiful, eager for adventure, he stands there. But he is speaking very seriously. Gentlemen and brothers, the time passes. The feast is far advanced. It is time to drink a toast to the 13th at the table. Little brother Gosta, cries Master Julius, there is no 13th, we are only 12. At Ekeby a man dies every year, continues Gosta, with a more and more gloomy voice. One of the guests of the bachelors' wing dies. One of the glad, the careless, the eternal youth dies. What of that? Gentlemen should never be old. Could our trembling hands not lift a glass? Could our quenched eyes not distinguish the cards? What has life for us, and what are we for life? One must die of the 13 who celebrate Christmas Eve in the smithy at Ekeby. But every year a new one comes to complete our number, a man experienced in pleasure, one who can handle violin and card, must come and make our company complete. Old butterflies should know how to die while the summer sun is shining. A toast to the 13th. But, Gosta, we are only 12, remonstrate the pensioners, and do not touch their glasses. Gosta Berling, whom they call the poet, although he never wrote verses, continues with unaltered calmness. Gentlemen and brothers, have you forgotten who you are? You are they who hold pleasure by force in Varmland. You are they who set the fiddle bows going, keep up the dance, make song and music resound through the land. You know how to keep your hearts from the love of gold, your hands from work. If you did not exist, the dance would die, summer die, the roses die, card playing die, song die, and in this whole blessed land there would be nothing but iron and owners of ironworks. Pleasure lives while you live. For 6 years have I celebrated Christmas Eve in the Ekeby smithy, and never before has any one refused to drink to the 13th. But, Gosta, cry they all, when we are only 12, how can we drink to the 13th? Are we only 12? He says. Why must we die out from the earth? Shall we be but 11 next year, but 10 the year after? Shall our name become a legend, our company destroyed? I call upon him, the 13th, for I have stood up to drink his toast. From the ocean's depths, from the bowels of the earth, from heaven, from hell, I call him who shall complete our number. Then it rattled in the chimney, then the furnace door opened, then the 13th came. He was hairy, with tail and cloven hoof, with horns and pointed beard, and at the sight of him the pensioners start up with a cry. But in uncontrollable joy Gosta Berling cries, "The 13th has come! A toast to the 13th!" Yes, he has come, the old enemy of mankind, come to these foolhardy men who trouble the peace of the holy night, the friend of witches on their way to hell, who signs his bargains in blood on coal black paper, he who danced with the countess at Ivarsnäs for 7 days and could not be exorcised by 7 priests. He has come. In stormy haste, thoughts fly through the heads of the old adventurers at the sight of him. They wonder for whose sake he is out this night. Many of them were ready to hurry away in terror, but they soon saw that the horned one had not come to carry them down to his dark kingdom, but that the ring of the cups and their songs had attracted him. He wished to enjoy a little human pleasure in this holy night, and cast aside his burden during this glad time. Oh, pensioners, pensioners, who of you now remembers it is the night before Christmas, that even now angels are singing for the shepherds in the fields? Children are lying anxious lest they sleep too soundly, that they may not wake in time for the beautiful morning worship. Soon it will be time to light the Christmas candles in the church at Bro, and far away in the forest homes the young man in the evening has prepared a resin torch to light his girl to church. In all the houses the mistress has placed dip lights in the windows, ready to light as the people go by to church. The sexton takes up the Christmas psalm in his sleep, and the old minister lies and tries if he has enough voice left to sing, "Glory be to God on high, on earth peace, good will towards men." Oh, pensioners, better had it been for you if you had spent this peaceful night quietly in your beds than to trouble the company with the Prince of Darkness. But they greet him with cries of welcome, as Gosta had done. A goblet filled with burning brandy is placed in his hand. They give him the place of honor at the table, and they look upon him with gladness, as if his ugly satyr face wore the delicate features of their youth's first love. Beerencreutz invites him to a game of cards. Master Julius sings his best songs for him, and Orneclou talks to him of lovely women, those beautiful creatures who make life sweet. He enjoys everything, the devil, as with princely bearing he leans back on the old coach box, and with clawed hands lifts the brimming goblet to his smiling mouth. But Gosta Berling, of course, must make a speech in his honor. "Your Grace," he says, "we have long awaited you here at Ekeby, for you have little access, we suppose, to any other paradise. Here one can live without toiling or spinning, as your Grace perhaps knows. Here roasted ortolans fly into one's mouth, and the bitter ale and the sweet brandy flow in brooks and rivulets. This is a good place, your Grace. We pensioners have waited for you, I tell you, for we have never been complete before. See, we are something finer than we seem. We are the mighty 12 of the poet, who are of all time. We were 12 when we steered the world up there on Olympus' cloud veiled top, and 12 when we lived like birds in Yggdrasil's green crown. Wherever there has been poetry, there have we followed. Did we not sit 12 men strong about King Arthur's round table? And were there not 12 paladins at Charlemagne's court? One of us has been a Thor, a Jupiter. Any one can see that in us now. They can perceive the divine splendor under our rags, the lion's mane under the ass's head. Times are bad with us, but if we are there a smithy becomes Olympus and the bachelor's wing Valhalla. But, your Grace, our number has not been complete. Every one knows that in the poets 12 there must always be a Loki, a Prometheus. Him have we been without. Your Grace, I wish you welcome." "Hear, hear, hear," says the evil one. "Such a fine speech indeed. And I who have no time to answer. Business, boys, business. I must be off. Otherwise I should so gladly be at your service in any role you like. Thanks for a pleasant evening, old gossips. We shall meet again." Then the pensioners demand where he is going, and he answers that the noble major's wife, mistress of Ekeby, is waiting for him to get her contract renewed. Great wonder seizes upon the pensioners. A harsh and capable woman is she, the major's wife at Ekeby. She can lift a barrel of flour on her broad shoulders. She follows the loads of ore from Bergslagen mines on the long road to Ekeby. She sleeps like a wagoner on the stable floor, with a meal bag under her head. In the winter she will watch by a charcoal kiln, in the summer follow a timber raft down to the Lofven. She is a powerful woman. She swears like a trooper, and rules over her 7 estates like a king, rules her own parish and all the neighboring parishes. Yes, the whole of lovely Varmland. But for the homeless gentlemen she had been like a mother, and therefore they had closed their ears when slander had whispered to them that she was in league with the devil. So they ask him with wonder what kind of a contract she has made with him. And he answers them, the black one, that he had given the major's wife her 7 estates on the condition that she should send him every year a human soul. Oh, the horror which compresses the pensioners' hearts! Of course they knew it, but they had not understood before. At Ekeby every year a man dies. One of the guests in the bachelors' wing dies. One of the glad, the careless, the ever young dies. What of that? Gentlemen may not be old. If their trembling fingers cannot lift the glass, if their dulled eyes cannot see the cards, what has life for them? And what are they to life? Butterflies should know how to die while the sun is shining. But now for the first time, they grasp its real meaning. Woe to that woman! That is why she had given them so many good meals, why she had let them drink her bitter ale and her sweet brandy, that they might reel from the drinking halls and the card tables at Ekeby down to the king of hell. One a year, one for each passing year. Woe to the woman, the witch! Strong men had come to this Ekeby, had come hither to perish, for she had destroyed them here. Their brains were as sponges, dry ashes their lungs, and darkness their spirit as they sank back on their deathbeds and were ready for their long journey, hopeless, soulless, virtueless. Woe to the woman! So had those died who had been better men than they, and so should they die. But not long are they paralyzed by weight of terror. You king of perdition, they cry, never again shall you make a blood signed contract with that witch. She shall die. Christian Berg, the mighty captain, has thrown over his shoulder the heaviest sledge hammer in the smithy. He will bury it to the handle in the hag's head. No more souls shall she sacrifice to you. And you horned thing, we shall lay you on the anvil and let the forge hammer loose. We shall hold you quiet with tongs under the hammer's blows and teach you to go a hunting for gentlemen's souls. He is a coward, the devil, as every one knows of old. And all this talk of the forge hammer does not please him at all. He calls Christian Berg back and begins to bargain with the pensioners. Take the 7 estates, take them yourselves, gentlemen, and give me the major's wife. Do you think we are as base as she? Cries Master Julius. We will have Ekeby and all the rest, but you must look after the major's wife yourself. What does Gosta say? What does Gosta say? Asked the gentle Lowenborg. Gosta Berling must speak. We must hear what he thinks of this important matter. It is madness, says Gosta Berling. Gentlemen, don't let him make fools of you. What are you all against the major's wife? It may fare as it will with our souls, but with my consent we will not be such ungrateful wretches as to act like rascals and traitors. I have eaten her food for too many years to deceive her now. Yes, you can go to hell, Gosta, if you wish. We would rather rule at Ekeby. But are you all raving, or have you drunk away your wits? Do you believe it is true? Do you believe that that thing is the devil? Don't you see that it's all a confounded lie?" "Tut, tut, tut," says the black one. "He does not see that he will soon be ready, and yet he has been 7 years at Ekeby. He does not see how far advanced he is." "Begone, man! I myself have helped to shove you into the oven there." "As if that made any difference, as if I were not as good a devil as another. Yes, yes, Gosta Berling, you are in for it. You have improved indeed under her treatment." "It was she who saved me," says Gosta. "What had I been without her?" "As if she did not know what she was about when she kept you here at Ekeby. You can lure others to the trap. You have great gifts. Once you tried to get away from her. You let her give you a cottage, and you became a laborer. You wished to earn your bread. Every day she passed your cottage, and she had lovely young girls with her. Once it was Marianne Sinclair. Then you threw aside your spade and apron, Gosta Berling, and came back as pensioner." "It lay on the highway, you fool." "Yes, yes, of course, it lay on the highway. Then you came to Borg, were tutor there to Henrik Dohna, and might have been Countess Marta's son-in-law. Who was it who managed that the young Ebba Dohna should hear that you were only a dismissed priest, so that she refused you? It was the major's wife, Gosta Berling. She wanted you back again." "Great matter," says Gosta. "Ebba Dohna died soon afterwards. I would never have got her anyway." Then the devil came close up to him and hissed right in his face: "Died! Yes, of course she died. Killed herself for your sake, did she? But they never told you that." "You are not such a bad devil," says Gosta. "It was the major's wife who arranged it all, I tell you. She wanted to have you back in the bachelor's wing." Gosta burst out laughing. "You are not such a bad devil," he cried wildly. "Why should we not make a contract with you? I am sure you can get us the 7 estates if you like." "It is well that you do not longer withstand your fate." The pensioners drew a sigh of relief. It had gone so far with them that they could do nothing without Gosta. If he had not agreed to the arrangement, it could never have come to anything. And it was no small matter for destitute gentlemen to get 7 estates for their own. "Remember now," says Gosta, "that we take the 7 estates in order to save our souls, but not to be ironwork owners who count their money and weigh their iron. No dried up parchments, no purse proud money bags will we become, but gentlemen will we be and remain." "The very words of wisdom," murmurs the black one. "If you therefore will give us the 7 estates for 1 year, we will accept them. But remember that if we do anything during that time which is not worthy of a gentleman, if we do anything which is sensible or useful or effeminate, then you may take the whole 12 of us when the year is out, and give the estates to whom you will." The devil rubbed his hands with delight. "But if we always behave like true gentlemen," continues Gosta, "then you may never again make any contract about Ekeby, and no pay do you get for this year either from us or from the major's wife." "That is hard," says the devil. "Oh dear Gosta, I must have one soul. Just one little poor soul. Couldn't I have the major's wife? Why should you spare the major's wife?" "I do not drive any bargains with such wares," roars Gosta. "But if you must have some one, you can take old Sintram at Fors. He is ready, I can answer for that." "Well, well, that will do. says the devil without blinking. The pensioners or Sintram, they can balance one another. This will be a good year. And so the contract was written with blood from Ecstasy's little finger, on the devil's black paper and with his quill pen. And when it was done, the pensioners rejoiced. Now the world should belong to them for a whole year, and afterwards there would always be some way. They push aside the chairs, make a ring about the kettle, which stands in the middle of the black floor, and whirl in a wild dance. Innermost in the circle dances the devil with wild bounds, and at last he falls flat beside the kettle, rolls it over, and drinks. Then Beerencreutz throws himself down beside him, and also Gosta Berling, and after them all the others lay themselves in a circle round the kettle, which is rolled from mouth to mouth. At last it is tipped over by a push, and the hot, sticky drink pours over them. When they rise up swearing, the devil is gone, but his golden promises float like shining crowns over the pensioners' heads. End of section 4 of the story of Gosta Berling, read by Lars Rolander.